And welcome to National Focus. I'm Malia Martin. In the headlines, 5 family bills to be tabled before Parliament tomorrow. A new Paybush Belmania Dodan Village Council has been sworn in. And the Ministries of Agriculture and the Environment launches Leveraging Ecotourism for Biodiversity Protection project. The details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. The second meeting of the first session of the 11th Parliament under the Commonwealth of Dominica Constitution will get underway on Tuesday, April 25, 2023 at the House of Assembly on Victoria Street in Roseau. This is the second meeting of Parliament since the December 2022 general elections. Minister for Health, Wellness and Social Services, Honorable Kasani Laville, will take center stage at this sitting of Parliament as he is done to pilot the 5 family-related bills on the order paper. This as government continues to make strides to improve the lives of all citizens while protecting the country's most vulnerable. Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit says these bills seek to improve the circumstances of the country's vulnerable citizens by offering them greater protection, care and support under the laws of Dominica. One of these bills aims to eradicate all discriminatory provisions in the law against children born out of wedlock. This falls in line with government's overall mandate of ensuring that every child receives equal opportunity to succeed.
The bills include measures to provide for the equal status of children, meaning that all discriminatory provisions in the law relating to a child born out of wedlock will be removed. This measure will ensure that all children have equal status under the law, regardless of the marital status of their parents. Importantly, it also addresses matters of succession and inheritance, which means that every child in Dominica, insofar as the treatment by their parents and the treatment and the recognition under the law, the will that every child will be treated equally under the law.
A bill relating to child support and the maintenance of children will also be brought to Parliament. Prime Minister Skerrit says the law will address numerous matters dealing with obligations of both parents in the support and upkeep of their child.
An act for a law relating to maintenance of children will also be introduced to conform with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The law will seek to improve on the existing provisions related to the obligations of both parents to maintain a child, the specifics of the maintenance order, duration of the order, and method of payment, among other related matters. The issue of child maintenance is always current and a matter of great importance, especially for single parents and children within our communities, who are placed at great disadvantage when one parent shirks his or her responsibility to provide timely and adequate financial support for a minor child. The bill will regularize these situations and provide our children with security and protection.
Government will also introduce a bill for an act relating to the maintenance of spouses and parents, including the welfare of grandparents.
The Act makes provision for these 2 groups in our society who may be left vulnerable and unprotected under the law. It provides for the reasonable maintenance of spouses after cohabitation has ended, meaning after a relationship has ended or dissolved. The Act also addresses the care and support of parents and grandparents who are in need of maintenance by reason of age, physical or mental infirmity or disability.
The 4th bill is an act to provide greater protection for the victims of domestic violence and to make provisions for the granting of protection orders and for related matters. While the 5th bill is for an act to provide for the care and protection of children, operation of adoption services and for related matters. Prime Minister Skerrit says these bills are necessary as government continues to uphold the rights, responsibilities and protection of all citizens.
Against the background of devastating incidents of domestic violence late last year, We will see the introduction of a bill for an act to provide greater protection for victims of domestic violence and for the granting of protection orders to promote their safety. And there's also a bill for an act to provide for the care and protection of children, as relates especially to adoption services. These bills are of great significance to our society, as they will help us ensure that the rights and responsibilities of family members are protected in any situation, and that they are treated fairly and equitably under our laws in Dominica. So there are 5 separate laws which will be taken to Parliament, all dealing with the welfare and well-being of our citizens.
The second meeting of the first session of the 11th Parliament will be broadcasted live on all platforms of the Government Information Service from 10 a.m. on Tuesday. 8 councillors have been sworn in to serve on the Paybush Belmanier Dodan Village Council for the next 3 years. Kuvia John reports.
The 20th inauguration ceremony of the Paybush, Belmanier and Dodan Village Council was held on Friday, April 21, 2023, as 8 men and women were sworn in to serve as councillors. Natalie Farrell-Durant, Angelica Elise Pierre-Louis, Alexis George, Andela Tousse and Kishma Tousse Williams were sworn in as elected members, while Clasia Charles, Joshua Benjamin Remy and Fallon Walter were sworn in as the nominated members. Outgoing chairman of the Paybush Dodan Village Council, Mr. Bryson Williams, says being sworn in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic posed many challenges to the plans and projects that the outgoing council had for its term. However, he is thankful to those who gave him the opportunity to serve his community.
Though there were few challenges, but their significance played a major part in the performance of the council. The road was surely not a smooth one, but being sworn in right in the heat of COVID was not very easy to accept and to make necessary adjustments. Additionally, the council had to take certain decisions for the best interest of the council and community by extension. I would like to thank those of you who placed the confidence in me and supported me as a chairman and gave the council a push sometimes. The opportunity and the experience will be a lasting memory for me. I want to wish the new council all the best and hope that we can continue working together for the development of our communities.
New chairman of the Paybush Dodan Village Council, Mr. Alexis George, says the new council is ready for the challenges that they will face as they strive to create better communities.
You gave me the opportunity to be part of your council. I have always been a community person, and with great pleasure and optimism, I look to continue the vision of a vibrant Paybush Dodan community. I stand before you in awe of your support to have me as the chairperson of your council. I am absolutely humbled to be addressing you in that capacity today. We are all well aware of the challenges that are ahead, but it is a mandate that we as a team are willing to undertake wholeheartedly. I am a firm believer that a strong, committed, and hard-working village council will subsequently lead to a better Dominica.
Member of Parliament for the Paybush constituency, Honorable Lakia Joseph, assured the newly sworn-in council that government will work with them for the advancement of their community.
This government will certainly continue to support the efforts and initiatives of this village council, and I, as one of the parliamentary representatives of the joint council, pledge my full and unwavering commitment to the advancement of these communities.
Minister of State in the Ministry of Culture, Youth, Sports and Community Development, Honorable Oscar George, congratulated the new councillors for making themselves available to serve community and country.
I wish to extend my profound gratitude to those who served in the previous council over the last 3 years. Your sacrifice and contribution towards the development of your community is deeply appreciated, and we commend you for your efforts. I also wish to congratulate our new council for taking up the mantle to serve the community of Paybush in a time when it's very critical that young people take charge of what is going on in Dominica.
Meanwhile, Minister for Finance, Economic Development, Climate Resilience and Social Security, Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre says serving on the village council gives the councillors an opportunity to make a positive change in their communities.
I extend congratulations to those of you who have been elected after putting yourselves forward for public service to contribute to the development of your community. This is an honorable undertaking which places you in a position where you can positively impact lives and bring significant change to Paybush, Belmanier, Mopak, Dodan, Teplat, Providence. I commend you for taking on the challenge and the awesome responsibility of leadership. I believe that the fundamental goal of council is to maintain a structure to grow and improve local infrastructure and community services. In essence, you have been elected to help make people's lives better.
The Paybush, Belmanier and Dodan Village Council was first inaugurated in 1965. Kuvia John for the Government Information Service.
Thanks, Kuvia, for that report. The government of Dominica, through the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, and the Ministry of Environment, Rural Modernization, Kalinago Upliftment and Constituency Empowerment, has received grant funding from the Global Environment Fund GEF for the implementation of the Leveraging Ecotourism for Biodiversity Protection project in Dominica. More in this report.
The project was launched on Friday, April 21, 2023, at the Cabrits National Park in Portsmouth. The grant funding from the Global Environment Fund, GEF, totals to $3.5 million with a project implementation period of 5 years, running from January 2023 to June 2027. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Mrs. Silvani Burton, listed the overall objective of the project.
The Leveraging Ecotourism for Biodiversity Protection project is intended to improve the management of Dominica's 3 national parks, namely the Mont Tuapita National Park, the Cabrits National Park, and the Mont Diablote National Park. The project aims to transform tourism from a potential threat to an opportunity for biodiversity by strengthening the management of the protected areas and by expanding their sustainable ecotourism use in an inclusive manner. While the project is focused on the preservation and conservation of the country's biodiversity, it is also concerned with promoting and supporting activities that improve the livelihoods of the population situated in the vicinity of the protected areas.
Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries and Blue and Green Economy, Honorable Roland Royer, says this launching marks another major milestone in government's quest to achieving long-term sustainability in the tourism sector.
It gives me great pleasure to be part of this momentous occasion. This project is a direct benefit of the Government of Dominica's Emergency Agricultural Livelihoods and Climate Resilience Project, whose goal is to advance the government's comprehensive socio-economic development policy of conserving our natural resources and safeguarding the integrity of the ecosystem for the benefit of current and future generations. Further, in addition to the preservation and conservation of Dominica's biodiversity and natural environment, it is expected to produce economic benefits for local communities that will ultimately enhance the standard of living of persons who reside near those protected landmarks.
This project has provided Dominica with an avenue to reap economic benefits, which will be seen around the country.
This economic benefit will, of course, be experienced nationally as the spending power of those directly impacted increases. This ecotourism biodiversity project provides an innovative avenue to maximize the environmental and economic benefit of ecotourism while minimizing ecological damage and disruptions of local communities. Its objective to improve the management of 3 of our treasured national parks, namely Mont Tuapita National Park, the Cabrits National Park, the Mont Diablote National Park, is sure to do just that.
Minister Roy added that to achieve the overall objectives of the project, governments must integrate 3 concepts into the developmental framework.
In addition to the 4 components of the project, namely protected area planning, biodiversity, sustainable nature-based tourism operations, sustainable livelihoods, and project management, to achieve the overarching objective, there are a few concepts which must be integrated into the development framework. One, practices that promote sustainability. Two, the inclusion of local stakeholders in the process. And three, the collaboration between government and non-governmental organizations. Collectively, these principles will not only help to maximize the economic returns, but can only enhance the legitimacy and sustainability of this project.
Meanwhile, Minister for Environment, Honorable Cozier Frederick, says protecting the country's biodiversity is critical if Dominica is to become the world's first climate resilient nation.
The long preparation process was critical in supporting Dominica's goal of becoming the first climate resilient country. And I'll tell you further, and for our well-being for generations to come. And so conserving and protecting our unique biodiversity is a non-negotiable endeavor. Non-negotiable endeavor. If we are serious about achieving our climate resilient goals.
Kavya John for the Government Information Service.
Thanks, Kavya, for that report. Dominica will host West Indies for Test cricket in July 2023. The country continues to make significant investments in sports to recognize internationally as a host country for various sporting disciplines. International cricket was reintroduced in July 2022 when two 2020 international games were hosted at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. Prime Minister Skerritt confirms that a bid was proposed to the West Indies Cricket Board upon request to host the test match.
We proposed a bid to them to host India for a test match in July, and we are to make a contribution. It's already a contribution, all fairness to the West Indies Cricket Board, when you look at the extent of the economic impact it's going to have. So we're making a contribution of $250,000 to host India in Dominica, and these are the kind of things that we're doing to spur economic activity. So the hotels are going to be filled, the restaurants are going to make money, the taxi operators are going to be making money, the bus drivers are going to make money to carry people, the vendors who will sell along the Winter Park. So it's all effort to encourage economic activity in the country.
Government is looking to capitalize on sports tourism. Consequently, efforts are being made to ensure that facilities are up to international standards.
The lighting project is ongoing. So it's ongoing. It's a matter now for the placing of the fixtures. The old poles were removed. It was a lot of work to get it done. This thing was very strong, as we recognize that most of them survived the hurricane. To tell you how strongly they were installed.
The development of sports remain a priority for government with advancements in infrastructure and the athletes. You're watching National Focus. More when we return. Welcome back. Human development is a major priority for parliamentary representative for the Viecas constituency, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt. Prime Minister Skerritt continues to advocate for greater emphasis to be placed on the health and wellness of citizens, as the issue of non-communicable diseases is of major concern. He spoke to some of the plans on which he hopes to engage the constituents.
There will be a number of programs that we will initiate in the weeks and months ahead, and I would like to collaborate with the Village Council and indeed the entire community I intend to involve. So we'll be engaging in exercise programs, health and wellness programs. We will be speaking about nutrition and what are the best dietary combinations that we need to consume to manage and to prevent ourselves from getting this. And we'll bring in nutritionists, medical doctors to come to the community to speak to the whole village about this. We'll be walking the streets of Viecas to exercise. We'll go to the playing fields and walk around to exercise. We'll go to the beach and soak ourselves and to engage in that kind of physical activity.
Backyard gardening is one of the initiatives he is looking to implement across his constituency. It is a cost-effective way of maintaining a healthy lifestyle, as it encourages people to eat what they grow.
We can grow most of what we eat. We have fertile soil. We're the best soil in the country. We have the thickest topsoil you can find anywhere in Dominica. And the makeup of the soil is rich. And so we can grow anything here in this village. And therefore we have to encourage ourselves to grow much of what we eat. It saves us money and it makes us healthier. Going to the supermarket and buying these fancy looking boxes of juice is fine, but these are not healthy juices.
Prime Minister Skerrit will collaborate with the newly sworn-in Vikas Village Council to see the fruition of these plans.
I'll sit with you so that we can collaborate on this. What you can do on behalf of the community, we'll leave it to you, and that which you think you can do, the product will take charge of it, but it's a community effort. And if you can take all of what I have to do, then great. I'll be happy about that, please. But we need to collaborate on this.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is expected to meet with school principals in his constituency this week to discuss the school feeding programs. The $1 contribution to be made by students who are enrolled in the program has always been funded by him. However, new measures will be taken to ensure students are maintaining a healthy diet.
From next month, I will be taking over the financing of the entire school feeding program in the constituency. But under one condition, that the meals that they prepare for the students will have to be approved by a nutritionist, and they must follow that meal plan.
Dominica's Geothermal Development Project continues to demonstrate its alignment with plans to make Dominica the first climate-resilient nation in the world. More in this report with Julian Morris.
On Monday, 17th April 2023, the local media accompanied Minister for Energy, Dr. the Honorable Vince Henderson, and foreign partners on a tour of the Geothermal Development Project in Loda, highlighting the just completed second production well. These developments signify the successful completion of Phase 1 of the geothermal project. Negotiations over a contract to build the geothermal power plant has been in progress, and work on this next phase of the project is expected to begin as soon as the negotiations are completed. Mr. Ilwa says environmental protection is an integral part of the work plan.
The process basically is one that is very environmentally sound. Whatever flows out of this is kept inside a mud pit, which you'll see below here, and that mud pit is also, the material in the mud pit is also disposed of at the solid waste landfill. So everything on here is basically, there's a unique purpose with engineering and environmental designs built into the process.
The environmentally friendly reinjection well, which is 1,384 meters deep, serves a dual purpose. It keeps the reservoir pressured and maintains it for a much longer period of time.
So that's the importance of a reinjection well, both environmental and reservoir management aspects of it. Pretty much that's it. Once the rig leaves, that's all that's going to remain here. Even during reinjection, you're just going to see a pipeline going to this wellhead, and that's about it. Very quiet. So this well part was designed just for that, and with the space to take a few more wells.
Mr. Ilwa says the current reinjection well is adequate for the moment, but additional reinjection wells could be developed if more wells are developed, resulting in increased flows. Julian Morris for the Government Information Service.
Thanks, Julian, for that report. Government is committed to the continued growth of Dominica's GDP while reducing the country's national debt. Dominica's economy has been severely impacted by recent global crises and natural disasters. with the passage of Tropical Storm Erica in 2015, Hurricane Maria in 2017, which wiped out over 100% of Dominica's national GDP, and the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic have all had effects on the country's economic growth. However, a recent consultation from the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has projected growth of over 4% in 2023 to 2024. Minister for Finance, Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre, says growth of 6.9% and 5.7% was recorded in 2021 and 2022 respectively, growth which was credited to initiatives taken by government in various sectors such as agriculture and tourism.
Dominica's economy grew by an estimated 6.9% in 2021 and 5.7% in 2022. The growth was driven mainly by the construction of climate-resilient infrastructure, a substantial rise in agricultural outputs, and a rebound in tourism since the lifting of restrictions related to COVID-19. Secondly, government has been able to implement its public sector investment program and respond to the recent economic shocks because of high CBI revenues. Government's debt is projected to decline slightly to 98.7% at the end of calendar year 2023.
Dr. McIntyre says steps are being taken to reduce the national debt by increasing investments in sustainable development areas. The recently approved debt repayment fund will assist government in achieving that goal.
We are taking action to reduce our debt as percentage of GDP by increasing our investments, particularly in sustainable development enablers and initiatives in order to grow Dominica's GDP. Secondly, limiting additional borrowing. And thirdly, through the recently approved and soon to be established debt repayment fund to accelerate repayment of debts. The fund has also recommended that government continues to implement measures to reduce recurrent expenditure and increase revenues. Some suggestions were made by the fund. However, these were merely suggestions, and the cabinet would have to decide on a plan of action.
The finance minister added that while Dominica's economic outlook is positive, government is mindful of global issues and the threat of natural disasters posed to the island.
Government was commended for its investments and special initiatives to facilitate the growth of micro, small, and medium enterprises. Overall, the economic outlook for Dominica looks positive, although we need to remain mindful of the volatile global environment as well as possible impacts of future natural disasters. The fund advised the continued implementation of growth-friendly projects such as the International Airport and the Geothermal Development Project, while we work to continue to improve government fiscal position and support the vulnerable. By and large, we are satisfied and in broad agreement with the assessment of the fund. Our next step is to review the specific recommendations within the context of our own plans. Most of these will focus on enhancing growth opportunities and measures to improve fiscal and debt sustainability.
At a development partners coordination meeting held last month, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit stated that had it not been for the occurrence of natural disasters and other external shocks, government would have achieved a debt-to-GDP ratio of below 40%, as he believes his government has been responsible with its expenditure. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I'm Aaliyah Martin. Thanks for watching.